Friends, subscribe to my channel, leave comments, and I will make useful content for you. Do not forget about the Telegram. There are fresh news and signals on cryptocurrencies. After a long break, which I spent in Europe for about a month and visited 4 countries, I want to share my impressions with you. Why did I come to Europe? And how does this relate to what I want to talk about now? First of all, the trip helped me to better understand the world in which we find ourselves, and to move away from the daily hustle and bustle. It all started with a small plan for 3 days, when I went to Rome without a camera and equipment, and ended up there for a month. Why it happened, and what made me stay so long is a separate story. As for Bitcoin, regardless of its origin, whether it was Satoshi Nakamoto's idea, or it was conceived as a tool to change the global financial system at the behest of the authorities, these are issues for discussion. In any case, the upcoming events in this and next years will be times of change, which the ancient Chinese mentioned in their strategic writings. The existing system is no longer working, and therefore it is necessary to look for new sources. These events are happening everywhere, all over the world, traveling around the world. I can tell you that many people do not even imagine how the very Europe that so many seek to visit works. Europe is cited as an example of an ideal society, but one can understand its ideality only by going there not as a tourist, but as a researcher. It is important to visit places where tourists do not go, and talk with ordinary residents, not with guides. This will help you feel the real state of affairs in the world. The movement of millionaires is marked on the world map, and from this map, we can draw conclusions about what is really happening. Power and money are closely intertwined, and people with money are well aware of what is happening. Bitcoin holders will begin to play an increasingly important role in ensuring their personal safety as their wealth becomes more visible. Government agencies, including the Central Bank of Russia, have already spoken out against cryptocurrencies as a legal means of payment. The difference in attitudes towards cryptocurrencies has become clear between developed countries, which have mostly adopted cryptocurrencies, and others, including Russia, which is taking a more rigorous approach. Crypto economics is not just the subject of romantic dreams of universal justice. I realized a long time ago that the government stands on the opposite side of this spectrum. It pretends to be a fighter against corruption, but in practice it only spreads, taking ugly forms, including corrupt police officers and billionaires. The wealth of the state and its citizens does not guarantee protection from corruption. On the contrary, corruption often leads to poverty. The fight against corruption in such conditions often turns out to be meaningless, or even serves only as a smokescreen. Poverty, in fact, contributes to the proliferation of corruption. The wealth of the state creates a favorable environment for corruption, and it is not profitable in the long run. However, the external forces governing the state can use it to their advantage, acting in their own interests. This warning is intended to help you realize your capabilities and make an informed decision. After studying the migration map of millionaires, you can see that rich people prefer to leave countries where restrictions on cryptocurrencies and Bitcoin apply. China ranks first on this list, and Russia is second, despite the difference in population. This suggests that cryptocurrency legislation can have a significant impact on the migration of capital and wealth. The bottom line is that yellow vests in France, migrants in England, and personal safety risks in England. All these issues require careful analysis. To understand how things are in Europe, I went there for a whole month, visiting many countries. My goal was to understand how the real situation differs from the one presented in the media. A letter has already appeared, allegedly from the famous Spanish writer Sebastián Rodríguez, declaring the death of Europe. Although it turned out that this writer was fictional, the subject of the letter caused a huge resonance. Often such fake stories contain more truth than official information. For example, a letter from the future, presented under the name of Notkin, has still not been refuted. However, let's return to Sebastián Rodríguez's letter about the death of Europe, which appeared on the web 15 years ago. I will omit some provocative statements from it, but leave its essence. This letter highlights the changes in Europe and points to the deterioration of the situation in recent years. Traveling through the cities of Europe and communicating with different people, I became convinced that Europe, if not dead, is rapidly dying. Drunken, dirty homeless people have become increasingly common on the streets, where graffiti is also increasingly seen. A woman was elected mayor of Rome, and since then, according to her appointment, the situation with garbage and road conditions has only worsened. The whole city became dirty and unsightly, and public problems manifested themselves in their brightest form, especially in the center. Of course, it is cleaner there, and tourist places attract many visitors, but it has become almost impossible to find a decent hotel in the center. Milan, as a major industrial center, suffers from the problem of industrial decline, which is reflected in its appearance. The walls and fences are covered with graffiti, and the surrounding architecture and nature outside the city increasingly resemble African wildlife. All these factors have led to a massive desire by Italians to leave the European Union and return the Italian lira. Switzerland, on the other hand, is an oasis of purity and prosperity. Life in this country is not cheap, which creates a kind of property qualification for visitors. Swiss cities and roads are clean, and there are no problems with migrants, unlike Italy. In general, Switzerland leaves the impression of a country where everything is perfectly organized and well-groomed, which is confirmed even in the toilets, where it is always clean and tidy, and there are never workers with mops. Migrants are not accepted in Switzerland, and obtaining citizenship here is extremely difficult. It is also difficult to obtain citizenship in the Principality of Liechtenstein, although recently an analogue of the American green card has been played there. Liechtenstein, with its very clean and peaceful lifestyle, attracts millionaires, and the houses there are without fences, with fully glazed walls. This tiny principality, consisting of more than 30,000 people, has a very high GDP based on banking services. Liechtenstein even plans to develop a cryptocurrency sector in the banking industry. By the way, Switzerland has the most democratic form of government in the world. Direct democracy operates there, and important issues are put to referendums. For example, Swiss citizens refused an unconditional income of €2,020 per month, despite the country's budget surplus. This shows the high level of self-awareness in the country. The global financial management center of the planet is located in one place, but the political leadership is concentrated in a completely different place. If we look at the map of Europe, we will see that to more European countries, Spain and Portugal, attract millionaires. However, do not think that these countries simply magnetically attract all the millionaires of the world. Some of them, of course, choose to live there, for example, in Marbella or other luxurious places in Spain. However, most prefer to build their homes on the Canary Islands in the case of Spain, or on the far Atlantic islands belonging to Portugal. In these new world Atlantis, it is supposed to place the world control center, providing the highest security on the planet. However, it will be available only to very rich people, and not everyone will be able to get there. I won't reveal exactly where it will be, but let's take another look at the map and look at the main points of migration of rich people in the world.
On our Telegram channel, you will find the main news and overview of the crypto markets. We regularly monitor coins that can give big excess. Welcome. See you soon, friends.